And is it in Russia's interest for this war to continue the way it's going?
Well, we're in the middle of a very dangerous situation now.
It is. Yes,
And
absolutely.
if escalation is written all over the Iranian war,
Yeah.
it's also written all over this Russo-Ukraine war. I mean, it's really tragic what's happened. I mean, they're now embarked on this energy infrastructure destruction campaign that is just awful in its
Yeah.
consequences for the people of both countries. And it's incredible to me that this is basically a NATO operation against Russia. I mean, we're in effect bombing their infrastructure. Now, I know there's a few middlemen in between uh, that, but logistically, operationally, what the Ukrainians are doing seems to me to be impossible without the active assistance of the United States. And I don't think that, when the Biden people went into this in 2022, that they thought that they could begin to get away with those sorts of attacks. And they were very sensitive to the possibility that Ukrainian escalation into Russia might lead to a wider war. Now, what the Russians are going to do, I think they will continue to fight it out in Ukraine and not expand the war. Uh, and clearly, there's a sense of disappointment in Russia that they have not made more progress. You said that there's a consensus that Russia was winning. Well, I don't think so.
Yeah.
If you read there's a tremendous disparity in the estimates by the kind of the pro-war and anti-war camps in terms of how they analyze what's going on in Ukraine. Uh, CSIS just had this
Right. Right. Yeah.
estimate that the Russians had suffered 400,000 to 450,000 killed,
Correct.
with casualties probably, 3 to 5 times more than that number. Well, and by the same token, they estimate Ukrainian dead at, a half to a third of that total. I think those figures are hallucinatory. They're totally inconsistent with two things. One is the exchange of bodies of dead soldiers that the Ukrainians and the Russians have conducted. And there's just a huge disparity. The Ukrainians have gotten like 19,000 bodies back, and the Russians have gotten 600. Now, how is that compatible with casualty counts in which the Russians are suffering 2 to 3 times more dead than the Ukrainians? Also, too, the expenditure of ordnance, of artillery, drones, fab bombs, the whole shooting match. Uh, I mean, everybody concedes that the Russians have expended, 3 to 4 to 5 times more, depending upon the category of ordnance you're talking about, than the Ukrainians have. And it's very difficult to see how that uh, that kind of disparity doesn't yield a disparity in casualties. So, one side or the other is totally hallucinatory with respect to this most fundamental question of assessing how the war is going, which is the relative exchange ratios, who's suffered the most. And we don't really know for a fact what the true numbers are, because these numbers are put out for the purpose of sustaining morale. Both sides are, lie about it. The question is really who's lying the most, and that's a very difficult thing to figure out, certainly on the basis of public statements. So I think the
But
Russians are winning. I think that the casualty exchange ratios are in their favor. Ukraine is clearly suffering from an enormous manpower crisis. Whether its drone war will be successful in overcoming those manpower deficiencies is a big question. Clearly, drones have had an enormous effect on the battlefield and altered a lot of basic calculations. The battlefield is now an extremely hazardous place where if you show yourself, you can get killed. And that is a intensification of trends that already existed in modern warfare, but which have really created a fundamentally new situation. And it's very difficult to see from the outside exactly how that affects the relative capacities of the two belligerents. But the Russians are frustrated. I mean, they're frustrated clearly by all of these attacks on their energy infrastructure. They're furious that the West has abetted it. They're not going to back down.